Good morning, everyone. Good to see you all. It's my pleasure to introduce our three presenters for the Teacher Talk Teaching Strategies for Young Students today. We will have three separate presentations, and opening us will be Dr. Christina Tio. Originally from Malaysia, Christina Tio attended the Royal Birmingham Conservatoire in the United Kingdom to study piano, where she earned her performing diploma, a teaching diploma, as well as a Bachelor of Arts in Music from the Birmingham City University. She continued on to complete her master's degree in piano performance at the University of Reading. Soon after, Christina took a turn in her music studies. She began her musicological research and completed her PhD in musicology at the University of Southampton. Currently, she holds a Suzuki piano faculty position at the Music Institute of Chicago. Passionate about the Suzuki philosophy, she considers parent education and developing musicality her forte. She enjoys a thriving studio, and her students frequently receive awards at festivals and competitions. And next, we'll be presenting Dr. Soo-Young Lee. She teaches piano, chamber music, and theory as an artistic faculty at the Music Institute of Chicago and at the MIC Academy. Dr. Lee is also on the faculty at Lake Forest College and is also active as the president of the Society of American Musicians. She earned her Bachelor of Music with Lawrence Davis and Master of Music in Piano Pedagogy with Francis Larimer from Northwestern University. She then received her Doctorate of Music with Dr. David Kaiserman at Northwestern University as well. Then our third presenter is Erica Tam-Wang. She can't be here in person, but she sent us a presentation video. She completed her Bachelor of Music in Piano Performance at St. Olaf College. She obtained a Master's of Music as well as a Performer's Diploma in Piano Performance at Indiana University, Bloomington. Erica was on the piano faculty of Sherwood Conservatory for many years. Her students have won numerous prizes and scholarship awards. She is one of the accompanists for Wheaton College and has also done collaborative work at Roosevelt University, the Lyric Opera of Chicago, the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, and the Moody Bible Institute. So Christina, Sue, and Erica will jointly present strategies they have each found effective and successful in teaching young students. They will share in their respective 20-minute segment some tips on cultivating musicianship and musicality. That would be Christina. Ways to nurture young students' potential for success. That would be Sue. And creative tools for developing basic piano techniques. That is from Erica. The hour will be packed with actionable ideas and some samples of lesson videos. So, thank you for being here. Let's welcome Christina Tio.
Thank you, Yumi, for the elaborate introduction. And good morning, everyone. And thank you for having me share a few snippets of my teaching ideas today. I also feel very honored to be on the panel with Sue and Erica to talk about teaching strategies for young students. And before I continue, can I have permission to share screen? Or is it already given? Let me see. Wait, are you able to see this?
Yes.
So, now do you see the entire screen or just my slides?
We see your background of the desert, and then your slide is a little small.
Okay, right, yeah. Let me fix that real quick. So, sorry. Okay. So let me also share sound because I have one video afterwards. So, and also perhaps, is that better?
Yes, that looks great.
Yeah, okay. All right, excellent. Okay, so I had promised to share about cultivating musicianship and musicality, some of my favorite aspects of music teaching. Now, what exactly are these two terms, musicianship and musicality? There is a sea of confusing messages out there trying to pin down exactly what each of these terms really means. And here are some attempted definitions I picked out from a quick search online. So, musicianship is a discipline you do what it demands. Musicality is a journey you do what you must. Or a person with just a strong musicianship becomes a servant to the music, whereas a musical person becomes a part of music. And there's this other one. There are musicians and there are artists. And the artist goes beyond just the mechanical to create beautiful, expressive music that touches the soul. Most will agree that musicianship is a set of musical skills and abilities which also includes theoretical knowledge acquired through learning. It is more quantifiable, say by way of a quiz or a test or a performance. Whereas musicality is a quality, a temperament, usually associated with a style, with elegance, artistry, and musical presence. Objectively speaking, it may not be as easily quantifiable, yet it is still an unmistakable quality. We won't miss it, right? When we experience a presentation or performance that amplifies musicality.
Christina, I'm so sorry. We have here the request. Can you gain can you make your gain a little higher?
Soft.
There's one teacher who can't hear you really well. That would be great.
Thanks for letting me know. How about now? Hello. How about now?
Yeah, it's much better. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for letting me know. So where were we? About the quotes. Yeah. So and then also just a quick summary of the musicianship and musicality, the definition of each all. The two terms, just put it that way, it may seem that they are distinct from each other, but there are some overlaps, particularly when we consider what's sometimes known as internal musicianship skills associated with audiation, matching pitches, creativity and spontaneity in musical expressions, all of which contribute to musicality. So it could be said that having a strong musicianship enhances musicality. And here's a good one. Musicality cannot exist without musicianship. Musicianship is worthless without musicality. So, considering the interconnectedness of the two terms, for the very brief time we have here today, I decided that it may be more meaningful to narrow the scope of what I will share this morning down to simply cultivating musicality that involves musicianship. Cultivating the inevitable quality of musicality that includes musicianship. We have ever so often come across the highly contentious opinion that musicality belongs to those who were born to be musical. In other words, there is this rather common idea that one is either naturally or genetically predisposed to being musical or not. Rather than outright countering the notion, I would like to share from a pedagogical point of view how we as teachers could effectively guide our students to cultivate musicality that involves musicianship and more, and that how, in our role as teachers, how we could develop musical people for the long haul. Oh, my slides was ahead. Okay, here we go. The tale of two concerts. So, before that, so about cultivating musicality that involves musicianship and plus, right? Yeah, so as mentioned earlier, this is by far one of my favorite topics of music teaching. I consider it my calling, and it is also a mission that I have invested my life upon accomplishing on a daily basis. Now, the tale of two concerts, what is it about? I often tell my students this story, that there was this concert, let's say a solo recital. The performer was immaculate in execution and demonstrated incredible technical prowess. So as soon as the last note was sounded, the audience erupted in thunderous applause. Impressed. Brava! Good for you. And, or bravo. And faithful fans among the audience were likely walked away feeling sufficiently entertained and probably inspired as well. And there was this other concert, say another solo recital. The performer was perhaps equally proficient and precise. There was also really heartfelt moments that made the audience feel as if they had been transported to another realm, another space. Now, after the last note faded away, the hush lingered. Then there was one applause, and two, and the rest joined in. And you looked around. There may be tears in the eyes of some of the audience, and many will walk away from the concert moved and still reflecting, and their lives forever transformed. So I'll ask the audience, my students, given the choice, which concert would you prefer to be at? And which performer would you rather be? Arthur Rubinstein was once quoted to say, "I feel that special secret current between the public and me. I can hold them with one little note in the air and they will not breathe." That is a great, great moment. Many of you will agree with me that what Rubinstein described as one of many signs is one of many signs of musical artistry. To be drawn into sound and the space in between sound, and to draw others into experiencing a mutual sense of awe and wonder. My students and I call these such moments the magical moments. The magic is in the sound, but the most magical moments often lie between the sounds. So my premise is listening intently, responding to and managing the magical moments is what every musician, young and old, is capable of. It is one of several handy strategies I use for cultivating musicality. So bearing in mind that creating these magical moments involved a deliberate concentrating of mind and energy, deep and active listening, and the abandoning of ego. I introduce this idea to the students step by step based on readiness on any given point in time. 7 steps. So, from the first lesson, a student will be introduced to the piano by watching how I float my hand up to the keyboard and how I float away. So, ready on the note, on the key, with no sound, float. So float up. The only words I would use are watch, and perhaps also the word listen as needed, even though there is no sound. So invite the student to copy, to experience a moment of concentration of mind without having to tell him or her that concentration of mind is really what you expect him or her to do. And when the student succeeded in experiencing a magical moment of silence, be sure to affirm generously with wow and ow and woos and all that. And if we are ever in doubt that the student was getting it, we could always ask, did you feel that? Or, that was beautiful, wasn't it? And then we repeat the exercise. Teaching the floating up and down also teaches the beautiful hand position and good posture at the same time, or without us having to explain anything. Awakening the senses of the student by having him or her observe and copy. And we set the scope of the exercise and allow the student to learn through experimentation and discovery. When a student is in the habit of capturing the magic with no sound, I will add one sound. Likewise, listening for the magic at the tail end of that one sound. And once that is also mastered and moved on to play a song, the same idea of a magical moment of silence will be applied to the end of a phrase, such as and make sure that nobody in the room make a sound until the student's hand is back on the lap. Tail end of a sound, tail end of a piece. As a matter of fact, the younger students are often the most receptive capturers of magic. They are most open to a sense of wonder that many older students and adults have sadly become numbed to. Now, a couple of years ago at a week-long summer institute in Colorado, I had a class with 4 to 6 years old for the whole week. And one of the students I had for the class was to, one of the activities I had for the class was to experience the magical moment of silence. The parents of the 4-year-old caught up with me on the last day of the institute to tell me in great excitement how their little boy finally started to take time to capture the magical moment of silence at the end of the piece before floating his hands back on his lap. And the father of the little boy was a guitarist, a fellow teacher at the institute. Apparently, they had tried to guide their son not to rush after the last note for the whole year prior with no success. The magical moment of silence at the institute that week did it. Such is the power of magic for young minds. Once a habit is set, I will draw the students' attention to the end of each phrase. So I'll tell them, actually, there is magic at the end of every phrase. And then when that also becomes a habit, we will work on the beginning of a piece the same way. I'll tell them, guess what? We don't really create music. It is already in the air. We just need to feel it, feel the magic, catch it in our ear, and join in the fun with our fingers. So by the time the students get it, they will likely be listening pretty well already. If not, I will draw their attention to the beginning and end of each phrase as well. And also that there is magic at the peak of every phrase. That is when I have the students consider meaning, purpose, and direction, which could be a whole different topic of its own. So to keep within our scope here, the point is the students will eventually realize that every moment of music is magical. Step by step, we can lead the students to concentrate, to actively listen, that they may also be drawn to the magic which is bigger than themselves. And they might put the sound above themselves, that they may become lost in wonder and yet found in the deep love for a sound world that is magical. Moving on, this is another one of my absolute favorites. Sound is round. I often have the students say this back to me. Sound is round. Or sometimes simply round sound, which rhymes too. It gets to you when you say it often. And I'm a firm believer that the most profound things in this world, including music, is closely related to the outdoor, specifically the natural world. In cultivating musicality, I like to encourage the students to experience music making as a natural activity. It is so natural that it's never pretentious, arbitrary, or awkward. It's not something that we have to try to make up artificially. So take a good look around in the natural world. We'll find an abundance of music in the outdoor, in nature. Nothing in the natural world is completely straight line, a straight line like the piano, the board that we cut into straight lines. If you are familiar with the Fibonacci sequence, the spirally shape, my favorite shape, the plants, right? Yeah. The animals, the waves, the wind. There is music, round sound in the amazing dance of nature. That is, if we care to notice. And beautiful sound is always naturally round and moving in a spirally fashion. From about a few weeks into lessons, I will begin to have the students feel the length as well as the roundness of one sound. So let's say I would play a little game with the student and the parent. We'll say, close your eyes and listen to this. And when you don't hear the sound anymore, put up your hand. So I'll try, not to play it too loud and go. The first time round, the student will probably be, putting out their hand pretty quickly. And then soon they would realize that there is a lot more to that sound in the tail end of it and how we have to listen to the end of the sound. And we will listen to how long the sound is. And by the gesture of the hand, I will guide the students to sense that the sound curves and spirals around very, very gradually. So another way of communicating this same idea is to guide the students to consider that the sound is three-dimensional. Invite the students to experience sound that goes round and round. So, right. So here's the short video. Lesson episode from a few days ago. Okay. Did you feel that? Did you feel that tapering right there? Yeah? Yes. So let's look at it again. we have this tapering right here, right? So
Yeah.
how did it all start? It all start by, like you said, the Nike sign.
Yeah.
It goes like that, right? But then we more than just this, but we also think of it as a three-dimensional image that sort of tapers at the end. And then more than that, we loop it around. And as you loop around, you start another Nike sign that is joined to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean all this crooked thing. Oh, it's so hard to draw on Zoom. But you get what I mean. I appreciate the possibility of doing this on Zoom, though, don't you? Right. And keep going, right? And it keeps going that direction. Yeah. So we get this picture of this big loop. So three-dimensional loop-de-loop. You like it?
Yeah.
Right. Play that again. Nice. Three-dimensional loop-de-loop. Go ahead. It's okay. Keep trying. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Good job. Nice. Yeah. We will work on lightening the downbeat next. But one thing at a time. For now, the excerpt illustrates how the concept of a spirally view of round sound, the loop-de-loop, and how that could be communicated to the students in lesson. Considering the roundness or spirally nature of sound will also directly impact technique of playing when we consider natural musical gestures, but that's beyond the scope of our discussion here. So we must move on to my last point for today, involving the parent. So we have by now considered how cultivating musicality has much to do with the awakening of the senses to check in with one's true feelings. It involves an invitation to listen deeply and actively, and that one may be drawn into the magical world of sound and forgets oneself. At the beginning of our time here just now, we have also talked about musicality as a quality, a temperament, associated with elegance and musical presence. Now, to that end, I would like to suggest that ultimately, cultivating musicality is nurturing sensitivity, and sensitivity towards oneself and the world around us, sensitivity towards the pursuit of beauty, truth, and goodness. May we say, therefore, that to be musical is to be in touch with beauty, truth, and goodness. Now, you may be familiar with this poster. At least the words on the poster about our teaching profession. This is why I teach music, not because I expect you to major in music, not because I expect you to play or sing all your life, not so you can relax, have fun, but so you will be human, so you will recognize beauty, so you will be closer to an infinite beyond this world, so you will have something to cling on to, so you will have more love, more compassion, more gentleness, more good, in short, more life. So, to recognize beauty, to be closer to it and infinite beyond this world, to have more love, more compassion, more gentleness, good, and more life. Now notice how wholesome development, the development of musical sensitivity has, and the power that it might have to draw us towards our higher character potential. Until I started involving a parent of my students in the piano learning process, I had experienced for over 20 years what an impossibility it could be to fulfill this high calling of music teaching. Dr. Suzuki has this very famous quote, "Man is the child of his environment." When Dr. Suzuki emphasized that man is the child of his environment, it wasn't a groundbreaking idea that should surprise us, but it's a fact that we often forget or choose to dismiss. Now, I've learned from my training and experience over the past decades and a half that one powerful tool we can have in our arsenal in music teaching is to invite a parent to come on board, particularly for young students, and especially in the area of nurturing the desire to learn, nurturing musicality, and cultivating a quality, a temperament and presence that we know that is inherent in a musical person. So we typically see the students once a week for half an hour, 45 minutes, or for an hour. The parents interact with our children daily. Therefore, I would be remiss if I don't talk about parent education when it comes to cultivating musicality. I run an extensive parent orientation before starting a new student and hold ongoing parent education sessions to help them understand that they are the biggest influence in the lives of their children, that our partnership is for the betterment of their child. I'm not relinquishing my responsibility, but we partner, we link up to do this for what? For their child. To model respect and to nurture by love so that the students may feel emotionally safe, to feel, to be confident, and to develop personal relationship with sound that is real and meaningful without anxiety. And again, that is another huge topic in itself. So we basically want to help the parents to know that they can count on us to support them in their support to develop a musical child. And that together, we can more likely make a lasting impact in cultivating musicality along with musicianship and technique for a lifelong enjoyment of music. So I guess I have to wrap up my time here, almost wrapping up. This is just one of the slides, many slides that I would share with the parents to remind them what music education can do, how together, when we work together, the way we would do it, and how we can develop these character qualities in the children as well. So everybody get a copy of this and bring it home. I put it into a word cloud in the shape of a heart for a reason, as you could see. Everything comes from the heart and goes back to the heart, and it's a spirally shape. The three strategies: perk up senses to experience magic, to have the students experience the roundness of sound, and involve the parents to follow up and follow through. Now, can this be accomplished in a few lessons in a week, month, year, many years? Maybe not. But as teachers, we could model it consistently, and we live by it, and we guide and we teach it. That together, we could build a generation of musical people who will love and experience music, not just for a few months, for a few years, but for the rest of their lives. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Christina.
Right.
Thank you for explaining us the concept of musicianship and musicality. I think right now we don't have any questions, but should you have any, please feel free to put them in the chat. And we will move on with Dr. Sue Lee. She will talk about ways to nurture young students for success. Dr. Sue?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Hello, everyone. Hi. I don't know how I will sound after all that wonderful talk from Dr. Tio. Thank you, Dr. Tio, for the preparations so that I could lead on. I just wanted to tell you my experience throughout the years of teaching and all my experiences that I've had young students up to this point. I did my schooling at Northwestern. I did my master's and doctorate at Northwestern. For my master's, I did pedagogy with late Francis Larimer. I was one of those students who was a hard worker. And when I saw the movie to Amadeus, I was more like a Salieri than Mozart. So when I saw that movie, it was a close at heart with Salieri than Mozart. I remember the line that Salieri says, "God, why you give me the passion and not the talent?" And then I had tears in my eyes. And my teaching philosophy, one of the words that I like is the passion. The first, I was asked before, what's your philosophy in teaching? And I think those three words popped into my head: dedication, passion, and nurture. And I like to share with you all my experiences. I've been teaching since I graduated from Northwestern in the 1989. I did my undergraduate, and then for 1990, I did my master's, and then it took me a long time till I got my doctorate with hand injuries and et cetera, being personal life and all that. But anyway, so I ended up getting my doctorate at 2002, and I began teaching at Music Institute of Chicago. When I was a child, I went to a competition and won first place, and I was able to do winner's recital at Thornton Hall, upstairs of the Music Institute. And I really like that hall, which I have my performance class over there. And I would say like, oh, when I grow up, I want to come here and teach, right? I want to come and perform. And my dream came true. So I ended up being a faculty at Music Institute of Chicago. Of those years that I've taught at Music Institute of Chicago, I met many students from ages 4 till up to students up to 60s, early 70s. But I've been very successful with teaching students from, as a first teacher, and students have gone on to music. And some not in music, of course, but my goal in my studio to have them really have the joy of piano. Of course, as a young starting out teacher, I wanted everyone to do well, everyone to win competitions, and be able to do what all the teachers want. But throughout all the years I've matured as a teacher and as a person, I realized that the joy of piano music is the most important, whether you major or not. Or you go into just different majors. So the first things when they come to my studio, I think the first things I do is to evaluate, of course, the students' priority. Let's see if I could share screen. I have written down, the teacher must know each student's goal and purpose for piano learning. This goes for the parents as well. And I make sure the students tell me what their first priority is. Some of the students have piano as first priority. Some of the students have swimming, tennis, or ice skating, or other instruments. So I make sure whether their first priority is piano or not, and I try to match their needs and wants. And it's the first thing is the sight reading, of course, and the memorizing and theory. And as I said, I talk about the joy of having the piano learning. Hold on a second. Okay, the first things that I like to have the students to do is learn the scales. So I have the students learn scales, whether it be one hand, two hands, contrary motion, or parallel motion. I have them do one scale a week, and it takes 12 major scales, 12 weeks, and then 12 minor scales, 12 weeks. And then I have them do different settings from 1 octave to 2 octaves, as you all do. And then I make sure that's the first thing that they're able to do. So by the end, we do a scale Olympics, which I have the students do different settings of scale performance classes. Hold on a second. Okay, and then that's the first thing I have them do. And then I make sure even at an early age, I make the students come up with a repertoire folder. So each folder, whether it be beginners or advanced students, I have them do a different styles of music, Baroque, classical, romantic, and they have different tabs. And they have several different tabs with these in the folders with their music. And it's really important for them to do it with this at an early age than doing it different books. I find that they feel very proud and feel like more advanced to have this different folders of different repertoires in music. So I once had a student say, oh, miscellaneous folder. She goes, what kind of period is that? Is it come after 20th century or after romantic period? I had a nine-year-old who would ask me. So I thought that was a funny teaching moment. And then the best thing to do, the teaching tool that I have students do is the recordings. We have the iPhone, we have different gadgets, different technical advices. I have them send me through their phones or WeChat or the Kakao Talk, many different devices I have them send them, but the best recording tools that I found was students have record their stuff and put it in Google folder. So the piano journal will be not just writing journals, so they write it down and then they record it. So I had one student during the pandemic period literally practice 3-4 hours recorded on the Google folder, and I checked them during the weeks. And it took a lot of time, but I did check every one of them. So these are some of the tools that I use. And then of course, everybody probably knows about the YouTube channels. We put unlisted and not public so that we check it for each other and we send it out to the students. The recordings is another tool for everybody. And then, let's see, I'm gonna go through. Okay, so the next round that I have them do is the performance class and repertoire class. After they have more than 2 repertoire, I have them go through the repertoire list and come to performance class. And I divide them into repertoire and performance class. Repertoire class is when the students have more than 2 repertoire contrasting styles, and they're invited to the repertoire class, and they have to sit through all the students' repertoire. Some students have 30 minutes of repertoire, some students have 15 minutes, but I make sure the students listen to each other from, sometimes I had it for 3-4 hours. I'd have them listen in the beginning of the class and then just listen to it after their performance. So they'd be able to listen to each other. And the longest repertoire class I had before the pandemic was, I think, 5 hours. So you have, let's say, one student playing, I know. But after I started doing it, I noticed the students were able to play their repertoire. So I recycle those old pieces. And it takes about 2 years, I believe, to do Baroque, classical, romantic, 20th century, plus etude. And then the little ones, we can do little etudes like Bartok from Microcosmos or the Moskowski etudes. Then of course, the advanced students have them do Chopin etudes, Opus 10 and Opus 25. So I have that, and then they are required to do 1 concerto. So let alone if you do 4 repertoire and an etude and a concerto, if one student do it, it's a recital. And literally I had it from 5 o'clock and 10 o'clock, which was very intense, but energy draining. But it was worth it. The result was priceless. So and then I have bi-weekly, I have a performance class, which students come with 1 repertoire, and it could be 1 piece. It could be from the beginning piano book, or it could be Mozart Sonata or Chopin Nocturne. But 1 student is required to perform 1 repertoire, and that goes from 2 to 3 hours. Rain or shine, I had this from fall to June. So it takes about that dedication to get that, everyone up in the highest level at their best. And next step I have students do the performances at various places, various performance venues. Let it be, I have a Marian concert series. It's a community outreach concert. I have the students do virtual concert, mini concerts where they share concert, like a half a concert. And I also have them do a full concert. It's about 30 minutes to 45 minutes. They would do their own solo concert and make a little bio and make a little publicity photo. iPhone's the best. And then I take very good publicity, the profile pictures. So I have them do those. Here's to become a fearless performer, I have them do all these little steps to have those memorizations and performances going, and have the performance classes. I use these with my students. It's really hard to do 20 minutes. I'm gonna go on to the next step. All right. And I try to keep the studio alive to have them go to many different concerts. In the summers, I have them go to the Grand Park Symphony Orchestra, of course, Ravinia, and then I share the YouTube live concerts and of course CSO concerts. And also best things to do is I try to remember their birthday celebrations and then have them play happy birthday in different keys. And then one of the students would play happy birthday in G flat major, and 1 week, 1 month, a student would come up with a minor playing on a Louis birthdays. And some of the things that I liked to do is catch on my, I like to catch on my teachings. To be healed, I need to read all these things for myself so that I could share with my students. And during the pandemic, what I did was, actually, I enlisted in the RCM. I think Emmy Murata was talking about celebration series. I took a course in the artist diploma certification, and it was a very, very challenging, but it was worth it. And through that, I was able to read a lot of books. And these are some of the books that I encountered. And then I could send a list to you all in the chats while the next lecture is going on. These are some of the books that I read. And sometimes I go back. You see Dr. Wang's Memorizations and Pianist. And I have the Joseph Vanovich, The Pianist Guide to Pedaling, is a very nice book to take a look. And another one, the newest one that I encounter is The Piano Lessons, a memoir by Anna Goldborsti. I think it's hard to get by. You can look at in the Amazon. And another book that Rubinstein, Dr. Tio had mentioned about Rubinstein's philosophy on music, Art of Pedaling. It's a very interesting book. I'm bringing Rubinstein because Rubinstein said that pedaling is like the soul to piano. So when I have students, I'm teaching the piano pedals. Some of the students have pedals too much. I say, like, you have too much souls. Take some souls out. So I like quoting Rubinstein's pedaling. Okay, next. Let's see. These are some of the websites I like to use to the students. I'm sure you all have encountered. The Interlude is one of my favorite website. It has great articles and essays, and I get it, every day. And then you can look it up in the Facebook. It has all these different writings and essays about not just piano music, but anything that has to do with music. So please check this out. I really like this website. And Living the Classical Life is an interview and is a one-of-a-kind conversations with different legendary pianists. They have a nice one with late Leon Fleischer. Please check that out. And another one is the Grand Piano Passion, that's specifically on piano. And you have a lot of original videos of studying pianos and legendary pianist videos. What else? Oh, opentheory.com was a tool that I use for some of the older students who were struggling with theory. So I share them with the students. So please share this with your students. And Medici TV, I think if you want to get the complete list, you'd have to pay some, but there's some free ones that you can enjoy, which I did during the pandemic period. So please take these websites down. And what else? Okay. And this is another websites that and YouTubes that I encountered for students. Tone-based piano is a nice teaching tool. I become a lifetime member because it has really great pedagogical videos and interviews. And it has short clips. I mean, you can find pianists such as Robert Penning. You have, I think, of course, Fischer, Dichter, Please check these out. Inside the score is the appreciation of classical and film music. It has all these essays and articles that's for music students and teachers. Nara Soul is the young Juilliard graduate, and there are a lot of clips and YouTube links, also in Instagram. And she teaches on improvisations and how to practice, and it's really geared towards students who are really interested in improvisation, or just to look at her performance blog. So please check those out. And also you have Piano Para. This is a very fun YouTube links that I found. And there's a lot of legendary pianists. The next one, most of you know this, the two-set violins. I saw two-set violins when they came to Nichols Hall right before the pandemic, and it was a great experience for me and my students. And these are some of titles that you can go into. 7 types of musicians' mothers. Ling Ling workout. Ling Ling is the fictitious character who practiced 40 hours a day. And I've used it for my students. They really love it. And you can also look for the types of piano teachers and how to practice. And there's so many fun links that you can find. So go check out two-set violins. Okay. Because those are some of the stuff that I share with my students, and some of the books and readings and YouTube links that I share with my students. I'd like to wrap it up by saying during the pandemic period, the Zoom was the best thing that happened for me, because I don't know how I would have done it with Zoom, with the virtual teaching, because I used the virtual teaching and virtual performance class as a tool to really get in touch with my students. And I've had performance classes twice a week. I'd have Tuesdays for 2 hours for advanced students. And then I'd have on Friday afternoons for about 4 hours. I'd have online performance class for students up to the 3rd grade, and another hour for 4th, 5th, 6th grade, and then another hour for 7th, 8th, 9th graders, and then up till pre-college, 10, 11, and 12 for another hour. So those hours that I dedicated and I sacrificed to be in contact with the students and their interact with their performing their regular repertoire. Through that, I had a success in sending students to online competition, and I'm very thankful that the students have gotten a lot of great turnout as to learning how to record, how to listen. Of course, I taught many of those things without the online tools before, but using online tools as a teaching step was a really positive experience for me. And I'm sure it was for you all too. And I see that Dr. Tio has fancy mics and tools that she's done. And I'm still learning. And even though I was a pedagogy major at Northwestern, I learned through teaching different styles of students, different characters of students, different levels, different ages. And I'm still learning as a teacher. And I've been teaching for the last 30 years, and I'm hopefully 30 more years to go to teach. I learned from you all already. I learned from Dr. Tio, and I don't go to the meeting as I used to when I was a lot younger teacher, but I'm very thankful that Dr. Kim has invited me to join this workshop and share my teaching philosophy and my teaching experiences. So nothing special, nothing big. It's just what I've been doing for past 20, 30 years. And I'm sure to answer any question if you have any questions. And I've also gotten a question from the Northwest. I did a similar lecture. It was easier for me because I was able to have all these things shared in 1 hour, but I had to cut down in 20 minutes. So it was just like, oh, I'm running out of time, and trying to share this information. But anyhow, I was once answered and was questioned how I pick repertoires. I try to pick repertoires according to their hands, their character, how they can create certain sound. And I literally surf and Google. I mean, I try to find out similar ages or similar types of students, or, I learn from other students too. That's how I do it. So, not a secret. You can really Google some of those ages, and then it shows up. I think Google and YouTube is the best tool. And that's how I've done it. And for concertos, there's some nice concerto repertoire out in the DePaul concerto requirements, or the audition concerto repertoire list. You can check that out. I've gotten some of, I think Susan Baker's here. Dr. Baker's here. I've gotten some of the repertoire list from there. So I've taught the younger ones. What else? And then other things I try to learn from you all, which I'm very thankful that, I get to share my ideas. And
Thank you, Dr. Lee.
thank you.
We are running out of time, so I have to wrap it up here. Thank you for sharing how you nurture the joy of music for young students. Your handout was so packed with details and information, and we have the request here. Would it be possible, can you put your handout into the chat? And also, Dr. Tio, we had a request for your handout about why we teach music. Is there a possibility maybe to put your slides into the chat? And audience, if you click on that link or on that file, then it will download to your computer, and then you can save it. Thank you so much. So we will go on with Erica Tam-Wang, and she will share in her video presentation what she does with young beginners technique-wise. So here is the video. Oops. Let me do that again.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Erica Tam-Wang. I am an independent teacher, independent piano teacher in the Chicago area. I'm sorry that I can't be with you in person or in live Zoom with you today, but I hope that this video would be as helpful as I presented in person or in live Zoom. Today, I will be sharing with you some creative ways and creative tools that I use to teach very young kids, very, very young beginners, to develop basic piano techniques. Some of these techniques I learned from watching other fellow teachers teach. Some of them I learned from my professors in piano pedagogy classes, which is a long time ago. And some of them are derived from my own teaching experience. I'm sure most of us, if not all of us, would teach round hand shape in our first lessons. We may use imagery like a ball, a cup, or just hold a natural curve. Have a natural curve in your hand when you walk around, to point out the shape of our hand when we play the piano. But these are the tools that I usually use to reinforce that imagery, because I feel like younger kids really like to see concretely what these things are, and in order to better understand these abstract concepts. So the first thing I would show them is these squeezy balls, Smiley Squeezy stress ball. This is a 2-inch ball, and when they first start, I would just give them, every one of them, a stress ball. And I would have them hold, the ball, and show them that, we we have to have this high mid bridge, and we have to show all these knuckles, 2 of them in here and 3 for each finger. Now, this is good for maybe 7 to 9 years olds, but for younger one, like 5-year-olds, I usually got an even smaller one. It's about 1.5 inches. So that would fit their hands better. This is too big for 5-year-olds. But sometimes kids can really over curl the fingers when you ask them to round their hands. So I find that this ladybug is actually better, in my opinion, because if you put it on the key or a hard surface or a flat surface, and you have them wrap their hands around, and this is a really beautiful natural curve in your hand shape, and and when they wrap their fingers around it, they wouldn't do this to create a lot of tension and harshness in the hand. And this ladybug is perfect, for building this curve and a more relaxed, proper hand position, and and their wrist would stay pretty flat and pretty, not high, but nicely supported. Okay, the fingertip. Okay, so this is actually what I prefer, this ladybug, and you can actually find that on Amazon. A lot of these things I use, you can actually buy from Amazon. All right, the next thing I like to use is a silk or a thin chiffon scarf. So what I usually ask them to do is I would have them hold the scarf with palm facing down, and then releasing the scarf really quickly, and then grab the scarf again with the same hand without changing the orientation of the palm, like this. Oops, like this. So that would actually promote this roundness of the hand, and pretty relaxed arm and relaxed wrist. And this is what we want, right? To make sure that they have round hand shape but not locking any of the parts, like this. So this kind of practice actually not only brings awareness of the roundness of the hand, also this fast grabbing finger movement also promotes a faster reaction time, and also the awareness of arm movement that they probably will need in their study later. So after the round hand shape being introduced, I would introduce them to 3 invisible strings. And I would tell them that these invisible strings actually control the tools that we need to use to play the piano in piano playing. So I would have them place their hand on the piano, and with this beautiful round hand shape, and I would introduce them to 3 different tools that we use in piano playing. The first one, which is the smallest one, is the finger. So I would lift this. I would do it on my own finger and my own arm first, and tell them that this is how the finger movement goes, up and down, and it never goes this way. Okay, and then I would do number 3, number 4, number 5, and then I would introduce them to the medium tool, which is in the wrist. So I would just grab that string up and down, up and down. And of course, I would do it on my own first, and then I would do it on theirs, and then I would have them actually pull the string for me. And little kids always like to pull it really high, really high, really high, really high, and I'm like, oh, it's too high, and then they're gonna drop. And then the third one, I would ask them, okay, there are 3 tools: small, medium, big. Where would be the big tool that we use in piano playing? And they would usually get it right, either the shoulder or the arm, right? So I was like, yes, it's the elbow. So I would pull the elbow string out and in, and then go like that, so that they understand, these tools can move in different directions. And then, of course, I'm going to do it on theirs and make sure that they're actually free here, and they can move it horizontally. And I would have them move mine. And again, they're going to go really far. And then I'm like, no. And then go back. So, and those are the 3 tools that I like to introduce, and the movement, the way the tools move to them at a very young age, so that they understand that it's not always just playing with just fingers or just wrist or just arm, right? And I will have to explain to them that all of these are always in a free position, and not a locked position, but they have to be free and working together all the time. And so next, I like to talk about what I use to further develop the understanding how these 3 tools work together. First of all, is the finger tool, right? So I know a lot of kids, a lot of students would struggle with playing with firm fingertips. The fingers are always, collapsed and going like this. So I have a few tools that I like to use to develop that strength in little ones. The first thing is finger painting. Yes, we do finger painting in lesson. So basically, you have to get, I got these washable acrylic paint, and then just find a little cap of, a bottle, even just, those water bottle, small cap. And what I would do is I pull the paint into the cap, and I would help them to finger paint. And I would explain to them, all right, this is your smallest tool, but it's also a brush when we're using it to do finger painting. So you have to use a really firm brush, and they're gonna do like this and go like this. And then I would, of course, have to help them, with supple wrist, and then down, down. And I would have them do 2, 3, and 4 fingers. Like that. So in the process of it, I would, keep reminding them that your paintbrush, your finger brush, have to be pretty firm, all right, in order to do a nice round paint there. All right, so that's the first thing. The second thing I like to use is this clickable pen. I have a lot of these, I'm sure you guys too, have a lot of these clickable pen or pencil in your studio laying around. The good thing about this is, you don't have to sit at the piano to do it. You can, just bring one into the car, and you can do it anywhere actually. So, but I encourage them to put one in the car, so when they're going to school in the morning, they can just do their finger exercise. So these are of different resistance. I would suggest start with an easier, lighter resistance. So this is what I have them do. So I'll use this. This is the best. It's the ultimate test because it has the hardest, the tightest resistance. This is the Sharpie highlighter. So I would have them hold it with one hand and going down this way, and then have them go firm it up, and then firm it up, firm it up, and do it a few times, and make sure the fingers are still in the same shape as they would do finger painting. They would lay on the ladybug, and they would, grab how they would grab the scarf. And so this is a really, really good tool. And just make sure that they don't do, when they get tense and they're trying to get this, they're going to do this. Make sure everything has to be kind of like in a natural playing position. So I would have them hold it in front of their belly button, and then go down this way, just like how they would play the piano, instead of going this way and then say, no, we don't play the piano this way, right? So, yeah. So this is a very, very good tool. And so after, if the younger ones, they can't do this Sharpie, then you can, find something that's lighter for them to try, and then gradually promote to this ultimate Sharpie highlighter. The next thing is I like to use an imagery of the flying crane. Sometimes, if I see that their fingertips are like this, then I would just put a pencil or pen on the hard surface. Sometimes, most often is the piano keyboard. And I would have them grab this pencil or pen with the thumb and whatever finger, 2, 3, 4, or 5, and just grab it this way, and have them, grab it with precision and sensitivity with the fingertip, and have them just grab them this way. Okay, now let's do 1 and 3. You see this flying crane is flying, and then I would, direct their attention that that's how we play, and that's the shape here. So it always works. And then another one I would use, the imagery that I would use is the walking soldier. I'm sure a lot of you guys would teach, finger independence with these walking fingers to develop finger articulation and independence. So I usually have them, just either put it on the piano lid, oops, okay, like this. Can you see? Like this. And then I would just have them say 2, 2, 2, or I will call out a number, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. How about 2, 3, 2, 3, 2? Walk your fingers. And make sure that they really hear, how strong their fingers are hitting the surface. And then 3, 4, 3. If they have to lift their fingers, that's okay. Sometimes when my older students are playing, a certain piano musical passages that require a lot of finger articulation, a lot of, clean passages, a lot of, cleanliness in the passage, I would have them actually practice on the piano lid. To make sure that they can audibly hear each sound produced by each finger. So that, and then I'm going to say, okay, then you can, play the same thing on the piano, but hearing the same articulate fingers and evenness in the sound. Okay, so that's Mozart Sonata K545. So also when they, when they get older and their fingers are still not as good or as strong, or, as round, I would actually have them wear finger shoes like this, finger shoe here. So, to be honest with you, I am still in search of the perfect size. This is not one size fits all. This is, I actually bought a lot of these to try out to see which one would fit my little kids, which one would fit my older kids. So I'm still searching for the right size and the right kind of shoes for students of different ages and hand sizes. Sometimes they're too big, sometimes it's too small. So this one, it's Ken's shoes, like Barbie and Ken. And, as you see, I have to put cotton ball in there. So what I do is I would have them put either second finger or third, put it on the second finger or third finger. And I would have them walk 2, like this. And just remind them that the bottom of the shoes has to be parallel to the hard surface that it's playing on, so that it's not this way. So they should never kick the shoe this way, all right? So fingers are always remain in the, great round position like that. Or you can put on number 3 finger, or I would have them practice scale that way too, on the lid or on a hard surface. And then you ask them to take it off, and then imagine the finger shoes is still on your fingertip, and the fingers will be automatically lifted and articulating. So this one is the one that I bought recently. They came with like 6 pairs in different colors, but they're the same size, unfortunately. But this one, actually, I like it too. But it's just hard to play on the piano. Yeah, for the little kids, it may be slightly too big. So, but anyway, you can go onto YouTube. Not YouTube, eBay, to search and type Ken and Barbie shoes and see what you can find. Also, okay, so those are the tools that I use for very young kids to develop the firmness and the roundness, the firmness of the fingertip and the roundness of their hand. As I mentioned before, I like to introduce the work of the 3 invisible strings right from the start, so the students know that nothing is working in isolation. So we know that finger isolation could cause a lot of fatigue and eventually injury. So I also stress the importance of wrist suppleness in their early learning. One thing that I like to use is this butterfly wristband for very, very young kids. So I actually made these myself. You just buy hair ties and some paper butterfly from Amazon, and I just glue them together. And I would give 2 of these to my students in the first lessons, and I would actually direct their attention to these flying butterfly, and it's flying forward instead of flying upward this way, vertically. All right, so I would, I have to guide them with firm fingertip dropping, and then now flying the butterfly rolling forward, flying the butterfly rolling forward, and you would see the back of your fingertip. So a lot of times they would do this. So then I would encourage them to fly the butterfly forward so that you can see the back of your fingertip. It always works. So this is something that I like to use. And also when I introduce legato playing, the 2-note slur, 3-note slur, multiple note slur, then I would introduce these wrist movement in the beginning of the phrase and at the end of the phrase as well. And they pick it up really quickly because they have these kind of imagery. Oh, the butterfly has to fly. Yeah, okay. And then also when I introduce the playing of staccato, and as we all know, it has to have a lot of wrist flexibility and very firm fingertip. So I introduced early on staccato playing. I like to use what I call Frankie the Frog. These frogs you can buy, from Amazon again. So I like to put the Frankie on the wrist, and I would have them. All right, so can you send Frankie to the inside of the piano with really firm fingertip, right? So you can play with the fingertip this way as we talked about. And so they're gonna go like, okay, let's do 3rd finger. Bingo, yay, So this is usually the best part of the lesson. And how about number 2 finger? Yeah, good job, right? So quick wrist motion, very flexible wrist, very firm fingertip, and forward motion. to achieve this fun, short, bouncy sound right from the early age, okay? So Frankie the Frog is what I like to use, but just remember, be ready to do a lot of ab crunches, because you have to pick up your Frankie the Frog very, very often. So that's that. And the next one is about the arm, right? Because we talk about the 3 invisible strings: finger, the wrist suppleness, and also the arm tool. And for the arm, I like to use this, monkey with a Velcro. So you can actually get these from Amazon as well. And I actually just got another one, a koala. I felt like that's very cute. Better looking than this monkey. So I would put this monkey on their hands. It's Velcroed. Okay. And I would have them, play a note. And I would have them gently swing this monkey in and out very slowly, so that they feel this, horizontal movement from their upper arm and their elbow. And, kids just really love to swing this monkey. And so when they're learning, hold the whole note, the 4-beat note, right? So instead of saying hold the whole note, I would have them say swinging monkey. So swinging monkey again, swinging monkey. So, to just feel that 4 beats, and also to make that held notes alive with these movements. Besides this, swinging monkey, I'd like them to learn how to produce a good sound, right from the beginning. And the good sound is produced not just with the hitting of the fingertip, but with the coordination or cooperation from the wrist and also the arm. So for them to feel the depth of your finger and your arm and your wrist that work together, I use this play clay. I don't like Play-Doh. Play-Doh has a really weird smell I don't like. So play clay, and this one is really nice. I bought it a long time ago, but it still has a really nice smell, lavender. So I would have them dig into the bottom of the play clay. And because, you can't just going up like this, it has a little resistance coming up because of the stickiness. So I have them go all the way in and then slowly up. All the way in and then slowly up. Of course, for the young ones, you will have to guide their fingers and their arm so that they don't just go push, 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 right? And I would have them, okay, you have to show me a big hole in the clay, big hole in the clay. And then I would have them try on the piano key and have them feel that same kind of depth and the slowness digging into the clay and then slowness coming back out. And then I will have to help the elbow as well. So I think these are the things that I have one more thing. I almost forgot. I saved the best for the last. It's this pig. It's called a snorting pig. And this is so far the winner in the studio. Every kid love it. And so you will be wondering, what is this snorting pig? What does it have to do with piano teaching, right? So this is a snorting pig, and I use it to reinforce what we just talked about, with the digging deep into the keys and make sure fingertip is firm, wrist is supple, and elbow is free to play. So this is the snorting pig. Did you hear that? Okay. So some kids will go no sound, right? Because, you know, the pig doesn't think it's good. So you have to play with firm fingertip, dig into the keys slowly. Good. So I would have them listen for the pig's comment or compliment. Good. Good. So, yeah. So, and then you can go, okay, make sure you play like the snorting pig would be saying good. So that's another way I like to train my kids, my students, to play with good, deep, nice sound. So I think my time is up. I may have, you know, gone over too. So hopefully this presentation gives you some idea how to equip your students to develop their playing tools more effectively and efficiently. Just look around your house or your studio, shop around the toy section in the store, and just be creative. And you may find something that would be helpful in your piano teaching. So just stay creative and stay well. Thank you for this opportunity for me to share my experience with you. And I hope you all have a good summer. Stay healthy. Bye.
Let's give everyone a big hand. This was just wonderful. I apologize if any of the presenters felt a little bit squeezed into 20 minutes because you had really so much to share, as Cynthia said, a wealth of ideas. But I'm sure many of the audience will agree with me. It was fascinating to have three so distinguished and renowned teachers here and letting us look over their shoulders what they do with their students. And all of them have always so many festival and competition winners. So it was really a treat. It was wonderful to see each of your personalities, the charisma, and then just sharing really your tips and trips that you do with your students was just wonderful. Thank you for sharing also your handouts. In a minute, I will turn off the recording. If anyone would like to connect with one of the presenters, please feel free. Thank you so much for attending our programs. This was a wonderful year. Have a great summer, and we will start all over in September. Bye-bye.